I like a place that doesn't have a sticky floor.
What?
I love
a sticky floor.
Fine, man. What's wrong? Sawdust?
So music has been a constant in my life. Both of my parents love music. I grew up listening to what my dad had on the radio, which was a lot of Joe Cocker and a lot of singer-songwriter music, John Denver, a lot of like what they call dad rock now. I listened to all that stuff. And then my mom, she was heavily into like blues and R&B, soul music, pretty much anything that had a beat. I remember seeing Slash and seeing, when I went to the Taste Chicago, and I saw this really cool like Latin fusion band, and there was this guy playing this gorgeous blue Les Paul, and I was just like, okay, I just want to hold that thing. I don't know what it is, but I want to hold it. Yeah, I mean, it just kind of became a constant in my life that I had to be playing guitar. I started playing in blues clubs when I was about 14 years old, and I just played with pretty much anybody who would let me jump up on stage with them. I remember I played with this dude named Vance Kelly for a little bit, and I think he saw that I had this like fervor and I wanted to play, so he'd be like, go up there and play a couple songs, and he'd just sit at the bar and drink for the rest of the night. But yeah, then I started playing with Vance Kelly, I started playing with Fernando Jones, started playing with Byler Smith, I did a small stint with Buddy Guy. It was just like, and then it kind of just snowballed into other genres of music, and ended up playing with a couple like country artists, couple rap artists, and I just became like the guy that you called if you need a bluesy guitar. So that was my start. I think I did this thing that a lot of singer-songwriters and musicians do, where you start chasing a sound because you think that's the thing that's gonna work. After I stopped chasing the sound that I thought was gonna work, and I just started kind of leaning into the things that I loved, which are the band and Joe Cocker and Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats and Brittany Howard, and even like going back to Freddie King and soul music and all that stuff. Once I started to kind of just let myself do that thing, that's when I decided that this is what felt right. Like when I went to go play the songs, I was excited to play the songs. So once I got to that point, it was like, all right, I feel a little bit more confident in this now. And lo and behold, that was the thing that actually started to work better for me because it was the most authentic. The idea of going out on my own and being kind of like a solo artist and playing with my own band, I'll be honest, I just kind of got fed up with writing songs, and people who I asked to sing the songs, they weren't singing them right. They weren't singing them how I had them in my head. So I figured I just had to start doing it. But it took a long time for me to get to that point where I had the confidence to be like, all right, I can front a band, I can do this, and I think it would work. I had bands before where I would like share the lead vocal duties, and because I just wasn't confident enough in myself. And so during probably like 2018, 2019, I started, kind of putting together this collection of songs that I had written. And one of our friends, Mike Mamoni, and came and asked me if I wanted to record some songs with him. I said, yeah, of course. And that's when I met Ian for the second time in my life. And he really liked the songs, and he was like, well, let's keep going with this. Let's see where it goes. So I was like, all right. And after him convincing me almost every day to keep going, we're here. We're here at this point, and I'm gaining confidence still. So it's still getting there. The fact that we all have vastly different tastes in music, but also have common things that we love in music. They can bring a wide array of sounds to what I'm doing. So it's like Cody really loves country music, so it's like the twang of his guitar really works well with my sort of bluesiness and soul stuff. And then John is like a sponge when it comes to music, and it's like he can, he's starting to learn how to play a lot of those like cool R&B lines, which I love. Thank you so much for doing that.
Very well.
And then, Ian, I'll be in the car with Ian and he'll be playing like Mos Def Black on Both Sides, and then he'll switch over to hot water music, and then he'll switch from that to like Jason Isbell, and I'm just like, dude, you musical whiplash, but I love it. I love all the things that are happening here. So when we all got in the room together, it just really made sense. And a lot of times when you hear musicians play music, it's like it's sort of there's like a magazine music, and then there's encyclopedia music. And magazine music is like you're just tapping into what happened last year. But with these guys, I can tap into the encyclopedia of music and be like, all right, when we're playing on stage, we can kind of figure that out. And all of their knowledge works with what I'm doing and what we're doing.
I grew up playing piano and violin. And then I got really tired of classical music, unfortunately. So I switched to drums, and I played the drums through college. So at some point, I just decided that I wanted to write the songs. And unless you're like Marvin Gaye, you can't really write songs from behind the drum kit. So I learned the guitar a little bit. But at a certain point, I was playing drums in all these bands, and I finally started playing guitar in a band, and then another band, and then now no one even knows that I play the drums, which is just great. Because that's my primary instrument, and I miss it.
I learned how to operate my parents' stereo before I could talk. And I would always put on Run Around by Blues Traveler. I would put that CD on, and I would run around my house. I ended up getting a jazz degree after that. And I moved up to Chicago, started playing some jazz. Turned out it wasn't the best possible fit for me. Eventually, I started bugging Nathan on Instagram a bunch of times, begging him to let me play bass for him, until one day he finally relented and gave me a shot at Thalia Hall.
Yeah. My mom got me a pair of drumsticks when I was 3 years old, and we had a VHS cassette tape of U2's Rattle and Hum, and I set up like all the pillows on the couch and the armrest with my hi-hat, and I had all the pillows for the cymbals. Man, I went through like 4 VHS tapes of that of the Rattle and Hum. Fast forward, found myself in Chicago, and basically been playing drums in bands ever since. So that was like 2006. I moved here. If we get a super nice person just greeting us right away, it's usually like everybody's nice, whole night goes smooth. It's really great.
I like a place.
First impression.
I like a place that doesn't have a sticky floor.
What?
I love
a sticky floor.
Fine, man. What's wrong? Sawdust. Sawdust is great.
Sawdust is cool.
Mercury Lounge kind of has a sticky floor.
Yeah, sticky floor.
Yeah, I love that place.
If it's gonna be a good night, is if I get there the time that they told me to get there and the door's open. If you get there and the door's locked, it's like, okay.
It's kind of like the same idea.
Yeah, it's like it's
kinda
gonna be bad. Yeah. As long as you get greeted nicely, it'll be fine.
Smile and an open door.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we're not like this is the first band I've had been in where like nobody, like everybody's pretty much like if we say, hey, we got to leave by 11:30, everybody's ready to leave at 11:30.
I'm ready to leave at 11:35.
Yeah,
He's close.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, you got to make one more cup of coffee.
Yeah, I'm not quite there.
And I will say, when you get out on the road, you got to find other people's home, like wherever you are. Like when we went to upstate New York, it's just like I just had a sack of bagels in the van at all times.
Yes.
He said,
Bagels. And I'm not
It's
even
just
talking
a bagel.
about. I'm not making a sandwich. I'm not putting locks on it. I just eat the bagel that hasn't been cut before. It's just
super good.
Crazy.
it's
New York bagels.
Crunchy
Spot.
outside, soft inside.
Yeah. If a New York bagel spot wants to sponsor the band, give us bagels.
Yeah.
Please.
We're in. We're in for that.
weird now.
You can bribe us with food. That's the thing.